Hello and welcome to SpyHards Podcast. I'm Agent Scott.
And I'm Cam the Provocateur. And Scott, I am the disc.
Oh, Dick.
Oh, I misspelled that in my notes. Classic Cam.
What a thing to do, hey? This guy. What a disc.
Will I ever learn?
You're a real disc head.
Oh, true enough.
Well, keeping up with tradition this year, before we start the review of this week's film, which we'll get to shortly with our guest, we look back at the last review we did, and the last film we tackled was 1923's The Silent Command. And, guys, you blew us away with the feedback.
Our mailboxes exploded, literally.
Yeah. But in keeping with the spirit of silent movies, you've all just sent us messages that are blank.
Yeah. It turns out that they were really embracing the silent aspect of the film.
I told you when we reviewed The Silent Command, there are many fans out there. We are part of the silent majority, and they made their voices heard.
They are neither seen nor heard, typically.
Yes. Now, that might be a low point for us, but let's bounce back with a high point, because last week we were joined by best-selling author, spy movie aficionado, and SpyHards fan, Mr. Jack Carr, creator of the Terminal List series of books, the James Reese character, and of course Terminal List was turned into an Amazon TV show, and he's a big SpyHards listener, came on, spoke for 2.5 hours. If you haven't checked it out already, I suggest you do so after this. But we got some great feedback about that one too, and we were trying out a new format with that episode, with bringing on someone who hadn't necessarily worked on a spy movie, which is usually what we do with the Spy Master interviews, but has a foot in the world of spies. And of course, he does when he's writing, and we try and add a little flavour to the conversation as well. So we had these top 5 political thrillers spliced in there as well.
Yes, and I think that episode turned out to be really fun, and perhaps a different avenue for us to explore in the future.
Yeah, I've already been talking to a couple of other big spy authors that would like to come on. And if you guys have any suggestions for names that now it opens the floodgates a little bit for the Spy Master interviews, if they have a connection to the spy world and you think we'd have a good time talking to them, give us a suggestion. Let us know, mail@spyhards.com. But Cam, tell us some of the feedback we got for the Jack Carr episode.
Mav Metropolis over on Instagram says, 3 days of the Condor Man. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Great episode, lads. Jack Carr, you are a legend, in all caps.
He is.
He is indeed.
And I want to just give credit to the man for having a great social media game too, because there's a lot of people we have on over the years who just don't know how to work social media or don't care to work it. Jack Carr knows what he is doing, and he was supporting us the whole week. It was great to see.
Yeah, no kidding. So a legend not only in the podcast format, but also, behind the scenes, helping promote the episode as well. So we can't thank him really enough for that.
And speaking of can't thank them enough, I want to thank Michael Fenimore, one of our 00 agents over on the Patreon, helps support the show. If you want to hear more about that, there's a link in the show notes below, patreon.com/spyhards. That's a cheap plug. And Michael says, a truly awesome and inspiring listen, SpyHards and Jack Carr. Doesn't get any better than that.
That's awesome to hear. And of course, Michael Fenimore as well programmed some films for us over on the Patreon last month, so tune in for those as well.
But without further ado, folks, I believe there is a fuse that needs to be lit. Cam, it's been a little while since we've embarked on an impossible mission.
Too long a while.
Too long a while. That fuse has been unlit for quite some time.
We've been in Ghost Protocol mode for a little bit too long. We've gone a little bit stir crazy.
At least there wasn't too much fallout.
Part 3.
Oh. Good one. Well, I'm hoping our guest can up the ante when it comes to terrible jokes, making his triumphant second return and a first for a review. It is none other than Paul Tweddle, the man behind the wonderful Heavy Spoilers YouTube channel. Paul, welcome back to the show.
Hi, guys. I know you had some renovations about bringing me back on, but I'm here to talk about Tom Cruise and the good guy, Jeremy motherfucking Renner.
Yeah.
We can swear, can't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fucking
I call him
great.
the app.
Yeah.
Jeremy the app Renner.
I checked it today. I've still got an iPhone with that app on, like Flappy Bird, and it's worth millions before we deleted it. Yeah.
The Renner app and Flappy Bird. That is. Don't worry about your millions of subscribers on YouTube. That's where your money is.
Exactly. It's all in the bank.
Well, it's good to have you back on the show. Last time you were here, you were talking about GoldenEye and its 30th anniversary, and this year, the Mission Impossible franchise is celebrating its 30th anniversary with the release of the Department film. Came out in 1996.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. I remember going to see that at the cinema. That was when I was a boy, and I tell you, it might not have been the best movie to go see. It's like an 8-year-old boy, but yeah, been with the franchise ever since.
Well, right there. Okay, what was the experience like seeing the first Mission Impossible?
Can someone pull up when it was released? Because I'm pretty sure I went to see it on my birthday.
Cam knows it.
Around that time. Okay.
May 22nd, 1996.
Right. So, and was that US? Because I think back in the day they used to have a delay between US releases and like the UK release.
Very
possibly. Pretty sure my birthday's around August, so I'm sure I went to see it with my friends, and we were all just kind of like, "What the fuck is this?" But it was my birthday, so I was forcing myself to enjoy it. It's a good grounded film, I think. It's so weird seeing the journey that this franchise has gone through, because that first film is like From Russia with Love, and then Mission Impossible 2 is I don't know what the hell this is. And then from there, they kind of find their balance. I think 3 is really good. They figure out the formula and just go from there. And it's basically the same sort of movie over and over again. And I do kind of feel like they hit the sweet spot here in a lot of ways. Scott, I texted you earlier in the week saying that this is basically this franchise's Goldfinger. I think it kind of gets all the elements right, gets them in a good order, figures out what they want. And for me, it never really hits this peak again of getting all the things correct. And what we do is we sort of create almost a formula at this point that gets repeated and repeated. But every time I feel it's kind of lacking, especially with that last film, mate. Bloody hell, mate. Don't get me started on that one. When people were saying that was good, I was like, what fucking film did you watch, mate? That made it up as they were going along. It's the most convoluted film I've ever seen in my life.
I think I was texting you the other day, and I will state this on the air. Films and TV shows need to stop this whole, "oh, we'll figure it out on the set" thing, because I think it really just messes everything up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of figuring out this movie. So I think they may have early on realized, you know what? It worked out for us that time.
Yeah.
We can keep doing that in larger and larger, degrees.
Now, we do bring the puns. We do love puns here, but I also come with information. The Mission Impossible first film was released on July 5th in the UK.
Okay.
Which tracks. So, tracks. There you go.
Yeah, a month before my birthday. Would have still been in cinemas. We didn't have those like 2 weeks release in a cinema
straight to Netflix
out online like they do now. Yeah, we've actually panicked this week because we were doing. I was waiting for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple to release, and then they just randomly dropped it on Tuesday. I'm like, bloody hell, I've got to drop everything that I'm doing and go and do this breakdown. So if you guys are on my Instagram at Heavy Spoilers, you will see that I visited some of the locations from the film, including the farmhouse. But we rushed out there this morning. We just so happened to get the one good day of weather. But yeah, back in the day, I mean, films were in cinemas for months and months and months. I could have went 5 times and it would have been absolutely fine, but I didn't enjoy it, I don't think.
Well, that's sort of been your experience with the Mission films leading up to now. But we've got our sights firmly set on number 5. Cam, officially, what are we talking about?
We are talking about 2015's Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, directed by Christopher McQuarrie and starring Mr. Tom Cruise.
The first of the McQuarrie quadrilogy. Or McQuadrilogy?
McQuadrilogy.
Yeah. Although they were teasing at the time of, the last 2 that there would be potentially more, but I think it is going to be a quadrilogy.
I think so. I mean, there was a pretty loose rumor going around literally yesterday about Chloe Zhao, but I don't think that's a real rumor. I think that's made up by someone for Clicks Online. And don't worry, I posted about it too for Clicks Online.
There's no way. After her experience doing the Marvel stuff, I don't think so.
I don't buy it personally either, but here it is. But anyway, here is the synopsis for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. If for some reason, after 11 years, you still haven't seen the film. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Desperate times, desperate measures.
Okay.
That's pretty generic. Ethan and
That
the
is
team.
very generic.
It is. Ethan and see, it should say Ethan and the team, but it says Ethan and team. So, okay. Ethan and team take on their most impossible mission yet, eradicating the Syndicate, an international and highly skilled rogue organization committed to destroying the IMF. I don't think it was committed to destroying the IMF.
No, it's like world destabilization. Destabilization.
Destabilization. Leave that in. That's it.
Yeah,
World
yeah.
destabilization.
Yeah.
That sounds
Destabilization.
right.
Across the nation.
Destabilization across the nation.
Was that a Nation of Domination reference? It should have been if it wasn't. Well, that's the synopsis. That's the setup. I do not remember seeing this film in theaters. I have almost no memory of it. Go on, Cam.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think this is their most impossible mission to date? If you were to be part of this team and you look at this, let's not look forward. Let's not go into, Dead Reckoning and all that sort of stuff. Let's look at this movie and the previous 4. If you were a member of the team, which mission would you be the most like, I don't want any part of this?
I still think I would not want to climb Burj Khalifa.
That one to me seems a little more daunting.
Yeah, I don't like swimming. I don't like being underwater particularly at all. I haven't bathed in years. But yeah, I'm not sure I could take climbing that monstrosity.
The most possible is probably the second one, right?
As long as you've got some doves.
Yeah.
I would say the most possible is the first one.
Hmm.
Because it's just kind of like catching his boss and being like, oh yeah, you killed everyone. And I'm going to lie on the back of a train. I mean, that train scene these days, that would be like first act stunt. Whereas back then it was like, oh, a big action scene on the train. Although, to be fair, this film, the final act in this, I'm not that impressed by it. It's going to be one of my dislikes when he's like, just sit down at a table and remember bank details.
Right on napkin. Plot. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on the final act as well. But Cam, so what's your pick for most possible mission so far?
I think I might go part 2.
Yeah.
Because when I rack my brain as to part 2, yeah, of course, there's stuff. I'm not Tom Cruise. I'm not gonna be climbing a mountain.
You're
fun.
not?
No.
Oh.
But when it comes down to it, it's like infiltrating the bad guy and
You did what to the bad guy?
Infiltrating and then having a bike chase. I don't know. Sure.
Doug Ray Scott didn't know what hit him when you came around.
Actually, hold on. No, I don't have to infiltrate anything. Tandiwe Newton did the infiltrating, and I just get to sit back and be like, hey, give me the intel.
I didn't realize Tandiwe Newton was into pegging, but there we are.
Well,
he did jump out of that building, though, didn't he? Because he did that thing where he threw the thing and it exploded. I remember when I was 10 being really that's the coolest action scene I've ever seen. Doves are flying across the screen as well for some reason. He fucking loves doves, that lad.
He does love it. I can't separate the nostalgia of the soundtrack from Mission Impossible 2. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm all for Limp Bizkit.
Oh, I hate that movie.
I'm not gonna. These are fighting words, and I would fight you if we didn't have a big mission to tackle. Maybe we can have that fight another day. But let's talk about first viewings. I do not remember seeing this the first time. It would have been in theaters, I'm sure. Cam, do you have any stories?
Yeah, I remember. I had absolutely loved Ghost Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny in retrospect because I remember when they made the announcement that there would be a 5th one.
Yep.
And they announced it would be directed by Christopher McQuarrie. And I was not happy. I was like, really? The director of Jack Reacher is who's going to be doing the next Mission Impossible. Now,
Burn.
No, it's not a burn. I actually like Jack Reacher. I like it quite a bit. But when you look at the scale and the spectacle of Mission Impossible, you've had Brian De Palma, John Woo, Brad Bird, and J.J. Abrams was a little bit of a dice roll for me because I wasn't that familiar with his TV work at the time.
Sure.
But I really loved Mission Impossible 3. And I was going okay, well, McQuarrie did The Way of the Gun, and he did Jack Reacher. This is not who I want, doing this big, globe-hopping, large-scale spy thriller.
Fair.
This is not exciting news to me. And I remember I did go, enjoyed the movie a lot, but at least at the time, walking out the first time, I felt like it was a bit of a step down from Ghost Protocol I enjoyed it, but it did not have for me the highs. Pardon the pun with the stunts in Ghost Protocol, but like it did not have the highs of that film for me walking out. But I enjoyed it. Like I did walk out happy, just not, I did not walk out like screaming to the heavens like I did say after Fallout.
I think that's fair, and I think that also tracks a little bit with. I was reading some contemporary reviews, and that was around about the same. Interestingly, though, this is one of the films that I feel like people online have really come around on.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go on like Letterboxd. There's many people say this is the best one of the entire series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll take a bite out of that in a second, but let's tell Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation's story. Cam, you said there's some interesting going-ons behind the scenes, so why don't you take it? Oh, I didn't ask Paul. I didn't ask you, Mr. Heavy Spoilers.
I felt really similar to Cam, and I absolutely loved the Burj Khalifa one. I thought that was an incredible film. Not even so much the stunts, just like the invisible hallway trick, the constant I thought the villain was quite he wasn't great in it, but I loved how he was just kind of layered throughout, and just the stuff with the Kremlin where he's like swapping his jacket around and walking out, and like just there was so many little cool bits in that, and even the party that they have where Jeremy Renner gets the metal jacket on. It's rare that the other characters get to really do their own stunts and something fun in it, and he was doing that. And there was just lots of great bits in that film. This one, I did feel the same. I did feel like it was a step down. I remember it being so heavily marketed, and to the point that that entire opening sequence was just all over Twitter all the time of him hanging off the side of the plane, and that was just everywhere. So I was really hyped, and it's a really good action scene, but I don't know if the film quite recaptures it. I mean, it's really good. I have grown on it quite a lot, or it's grown on me quite a lot. I do prefer it over 4. I think I've watched them back to back recently, and I thought, oh, this just kind of edges it out. I think it's got more of the core main cast down. Things like Ilsa, obviously, I don't know if that's been helped by hindsight because she becomes such a big character down the line. And maybe at the time when I first saw this, I didn't know what was coming. And I was like, yeah, she's okay. Whereas she gets more stronger. She kind of becomes like a Ving Rhames sort of thing. We watched that first Mission Impossible. Yeah, oh yeah, Ving Rhames is okay. He's okay in there. But when you watch the other ones and then go back to that first one, you're like, it's fucking Ving Rhames, my favorite character in the franchise. And I kind of feel like that with her as well. So I don't know if her inclusion in down the line in the other films has kind of improved it here. But yeah, think it's great. There's lots of good action scenes in it, and really, really enjoy it. I would say this is a high point for me as well.
Well, I have a question for you, Paul. Like when you saw this film back in 2015, did you have the sense walking out that like characters like Lane and Faust would be returning? Like, did this seem like a setup to an ongoing story? Yeah, that's how I felt too.
Yeah. I thought like Lane was okay, but he was a bit like, I don't know. I don't think Mission Impossible's ever really had those amazing I mean, there's been Jim Phelps who was good. Second guy, Dougray Scott, I thought he was quite good. Philip Seymour Hoffman, fantastic. Probably the high point. Henry Cavill he's quite strong in it, but yeah, I think the villain from 4 and Solomon Lane I was just kind of a bit met on. It's just like, it's just a guy with glasses and a coat, and that's about all he really does. Where he doesn't have like that Philip Seymour Hoffman commanding presence that he kind of had in that. So yeah, I just kind of walked away from it, I think, just feeling like it was a good solid movie but not being blown away by it. But yeah, again, like I said, I think down the line the later films improved this one, so that's probably why it's gained an audience over the years and had that appreciation around it.
I wonder too if it was also just like the bloating of the movies. Like when you get to the last two, Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, like they are close to 3 hours long.
Yeah, I'd noticed that today. Yeah,
and it became like these big. Where it's like obviously people love the stunts in them, and the stunts would get more and more incredible. But like the storytelling would get very, very messy and all over the place and bigger, almost like going Pirates of the Caribbean at a certain point with their mythology. And so suddenly, Rogue Nation, which is a 2-hour, much simpler, more refined version of that, is that much more appealing to people now.
Yeah, no, I did not check that today because I started watching some of it the other night, stopped it, and then was like, oh crap, I've got to finish this film. And I saw the timer on my 4K player was like 1 hour 40. I was like, oh fucking hell, I'm never gonna get this finished. I've still got an hour left. And I pressed the button to see how like the status on the screen. It was like 2 hours and 11 minutes. I was like, oh brilliant, they made like a short movie. Fantastic. So yeah, that I think that helps it quite a lot, because yeah, it just gets so convoluted down the lines. Like Dead Reckoning as well. There's just so many. Just this scene, we're doing the same thing again. We're doing another thing. Yeah, and I think this is just a nice runtime, nice compact story. It's got a nice 3-act structure instead of like a 5-act structure, which some of the other ones seem to have.
It's also not like buying its own hype at that point, like
Yeah.
it was towards the end. Like this, they're just kind of like, this is a mission film. Hope you enjoy it. Whereas Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning are like, this is a Mission Impossible film. Get fucking ready.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. Sure.
Well, there was a scene, and this is sort of diving ahead a little bit, but like there's a scene where like Jeremy Renner is like snapping at Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
And you would never have gotten that in those last 2 movies.
Yeah. He's kind of Jesus in those last 2 movies. And they do kind of play on it a bit here when he goes to the record shop and the woman's like, is it true what they say? And he kind of like, he does his whole Tom Cruise like, like, is that, like little nod thing. But they're never out and out saying like, you are the world's only hope, Ethan. You are the protector of the innocent. That when shadows come, there's a man who comes from the darkness who will never be like Ving Rhames' last monologue in the Final Reckoning is just, you know, when that tape plays, it's like, you come from the shadows to protect. And I'm like, fucking hell, mate.
Just let the film end. Just let us go.
Yeah.
Well, okay. It feels like spirits were up when we saw this film. Maybe not as much as it was for Cam when he first saw it. But why don't you take us into the making of Rogue Nation, Cameron? How did we get number 5?
Okay, so Ghost Protocol, for those that don't remember, was actually Tom Cruise's highest grossing film to date when it came out back in 2011.
I didn't know that.
Which, yeah, I don't know that I knew that either. So that movie had much more of an impact on, I think, his career than maybe we even realized at the time, where we said, oh, the fourth one was a bounce back. Nice.
Because wasn't he sort of floundering around about this time? Because there was like, because I remember Night and Day came out as well, and people were thinking he hadn't got it anymore.
Yeah, he had a few things. I mean, Tropic Thunder, he had a lot of, people loved his cameo in that film, but he'd had definitely some box office bumps along the way. And then Ghost Protocol was following up 3, which had been an underperformer, and then had really delivered. So it kind of showed that there was a lot of, life left to Mission.
But you say that, but I have a theory with releases and how things are often, they do well. So I think if you have a good like film, then the next one tends to do quite well. So for example, like Avengers Infinity War, oh, Captain Marvel's coming along, we'll go see that. That's $1 billion film now. And then Avengers Endgame's there. And same with Goldfinger, where it's people enjoy it, and Thunderbolts and a massive thing. And I've noticed this when I've been like, because I pay quite close attention to the box office of stuff. When you have a good solid, even if it seems to underperform, it tends to have like a good follow on, like Batman Begins as well, where I think it did like 500 million or something, and then The Dark Knight was just a massive $1 billion film. I remember Mission Impossible 2 wasn't well liked, and I remember the feeling around Mission Impossible 3 being like, the word of mouth was like, no, it's actually quite good. I didn't go see it at the cinema, but I did get the DVD, and I remember being like, whoa, what the hell? This is the fucking greatest film I've ever seen. Who the hell is James Bond? This guy's the #1 spy in the world now. And I think the DVD sales kind of helped to show that it was a really good movie. I think we might be going through a similar thing with the 28 years later films at the moment, where the first one, people are like, it's divisive. I quite enjoy, but I know it's divisive. Whereas that second one, people are really enjoying it, but it's underperforming. But I feel like once it hits Netflix and stuff, it's going to build an audience, and then come the third film, we'll be back. And I do kind of feel like the fourth one had that feeling of like, oh shit, well, the third one is really, really good. This one, it might be a banger. And just I remember going to see that on Christmas Day as well. And I never go to the cinema on Christmas Day, but I was so hyped to see that film and him climbing the skyscraper. I think that's probably when they tapped into the idea of like, we can sell these movies on stunts, and Tom Cruise doing these stunts for real, because those first 3 films don't really have that stunt scene that kind of markets the movie for you. They've all
Yeah.
got their big action scenes, like the CIA dangling thing when he drops down in the lasers. Obviously, the motorbike chase in 2. 3 is kind of the sort of when he goes to steal a rabbit's foot. I would say that's kind of the
like
big thing. But I
in
remember
Shanghai, I think it was, or somewhere like that. Yeah.
yeah, but I remember a lot of the marketing for that film being around Philip Seymour Hoffman having Tom Cruise on the chair and being like, "You don't think I'll kill her?" That sort of thing. Whereas 4, I think, was when they figured out, look, we'll just have Tom Cruise do something fucking crazy, and that will be what we market it for. And you go see him climbing the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. You're like, I'm gonna go see that. That is Christmas sorted. And then I think when they led with it, so that obviously helped with the marketing a lot as well. And I think by that point they'd figured out, look, we just need you to do something mental, Tom. Hang off the side of a plane, or don't care what it is, just do it. And it kind of nicely built into that. But yeah, I can totally understand why 4 was the highest grossing film of his career, to be honest, because I just felt that hype in the room at the time.
It also had the preview for The Dark Knight Rises attached to it, which was much publicized as well.
I
So
remember that,
I'm sure
yeah.
that probably helped out a bit too on the large formats.
Was that like the Bane intro?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember actually, seeing that in theaters. Okay, I definitely saw 4.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and that does make sense. And the other way that theory tracks, and there has to be one Star Trek mention per SpyHards episode. Star Trek 2009
Mm-hmm.
was very well reviewed, did gangbusters, and because of that, Into Darkness did very well.
Yep.
But it was a
Yeah.
terrible film, and so then no one went to the third one, which actually was a good film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more or less, yeah.
No, we have Matrix. Well, I'm gonna go see that Matrix sequel. Let's get in there. And then part 3. Oh fucking hell! What the hell is this?
Yep, that was a huge drop.
We're not
yeah.
gonna go see it.
And then
Yeah.
part 4. Ooh.
Yeah.
Did that ever
jeez.
come out? Not sure.
Jeez. Kind of seen it with Star Wars as well now. Well, but yeah, you need to have a banger. If you do a banger, even if it underperforms, just greenlight that sequel because people will catch it at home or something and they'll be excited for the next one.
I'm eagerly anticipating Mandalorian and Grogu doing okay box office.
I think it'll do quite bad.
I suspect that's what it'll do. You reckon?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't think it will make the money they want it to.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
Solo bombed, so anything's possible.
So, as I said, highest grossing film to date for Tom Cruise. And so they were actually quietly developing a follow-up around the time 4 was being released. Or actually even well before that. They were just quietly coming up with ideas. And they had a writer, Drew Pearce, who has a credit on the film for story. He's an English writer-producer. Started out in TV on shows like Bedrock, How Not to Live Your Life, and No Heroics. And in 2013, he kind of made a name for himself by co-writing Iron Man 3 with Shane Black.
Okay.
And that's where I started hearing about him a lot, where he was doing a lot of interviews at the time, and it was like, oh, okay, who is this guy? And he did some uncredited work on the 2014 Godzilla film and rolled right into this. But since then, he's become a pretty regularly working screenwriter. He worked on Hobbs and Shaw. He also did The Fall Guy. He had the main credit on The Fall Guy. And he's writing the upcoming Thomas Crown Affair remake, which is going to be starring and directed by Michael B. Jordan.
Okay.
I have only seen the Brosnan one, so I don't have any opinions on that yet.
I saw the Brosnan one, loved it. Thought, you know what, I'm going to go back and see the original. Put the original on. I was like, what? No. People say this one's the classic. They get on Brosnan. Yeah, Brosnan's way better for our generation, I think.
I would say so. I like the Brosnan one. I like the original, but the Brosnan one has more momentum to it when you watch it.
Slick.
That's for sure. Yeah. And in the original conception of the story that was going on, the opening would actually start in the 1960s and feature the character of Dan Briggs, who was in season 1 of the TV show Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah. The original leader of the team.
Was Briggs not the name of Shea Wiggins' character in the newer ones as well?
That was his fake
His
name.
fake
Yes.
name, yes, before he was then turned into the
Yeah.
actual protagonist of the other seasons. Son.
Yeah, but that was like the name, wasn't it? Yeah.
Maybe.
It was the son, wasn't it?
Well, is it the son or is that...
Yeah, Jasper Briggs, he's called.
He's the son of John Voight.
Yeah.
He's the son of John Voight, but is John Voight now... in the rewrite, are we saying that John Voight is the character from the original show, or that the son is the character from the original show.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a line in this film that made me raise an eyebrow as when they're talking like in a Senate hearing, and they said the IMF have been around for 40 years. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, so they're referencing the original 60s show, right?
Probably.
But then, does that mean there's been generations of Briggs? Generations of that family, just
Of
all
Phelps?
within the Phelps within the IMF? Like, is that?
Just constantly.
It's a family
getting the
affair.
job.
It just it
Nepo
is
babies.
Nepo baby personified in the IMF.
Well, it pretty much is, because I mean, it's all Tom Cruise's friends anyway.
Oh well, now yeah,
We'll
for
just-
sure.
Yeah. So in August 2013, Paramount made it official. They announced that there would be a fifth Mission Impossible film, and they announced Drew Pearce would be the writer, and the director would be Christopher McQuarrie.
Okay.
Now, Christopher McQuarrie, born in New Jersey, he's a writer, director, producer. I think we all know who he is at this point, but he was actually a childhood friend of Bryan Singer, the director who these days, not in the best of standings in the world, but that was where he got his start because he actually wrote Bryan Singer's first film, Public Access. He then wrote Usual Suspects for him, won an Oscar for that. And then he kind of split off, wrote and directed The Way of the Gun with Ryan Felipe, and Benicio del Toro, which was I think, pretty effective sort of Pulp Fiction-esque sort of hitman film, but it did not perform well. So he mostly just went back to writing. He wrote on Valkyrie with Tom Cruise. That's where he sort of meets him.
Yeah.
And that's another Bryan Singer film. He also did Jack the Giant Slayer, although a lot of people worked on Jack the Giant Slayer. And he also wrote and directed Jack Reacher in 2012, which solidifies more the relationship with Tom Cruise. And then, instead of being kind of the go-to Bryan Singer guy, he becomes more of the go-to Tom Cruise guy. So he works on Edge of Tomorrow, and then following Rogue Nation would also write on The Mummy and Top Gun Maverick.
Right.
Has he, I guess Top Gun Maverick is a good calling card, although it is all TC.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he's had some good ones there.
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
along with them clearly.
Yeah. There's clearly a relationship there. One wonders what he does without Tom Cruise now.
Yeah. Maybe he's just really good at writing like Tom Cruise scripts where he sort of isn't romantically linked to women at all.
That has to be a specialty
What
at this
are you
point.
talking about?
Yeah.
The sexual tension between him and Ilsa Faust was everywhere. I couldn't get through the film.
Yeah, I still don't know even like now, I don't know what the hell was going on with those characters.
When she says "come away with me," I'm like,
Like, were
huh? Like what?
I think that was his reaction too. Like, me?
It was. But like McQuarrie is like famously they say someone who's written on like lots and lots and lots of the blockbusters you've seen, and he would do uncredited work all over the place and was kind of one of the most in demand screenwriters for that.
Cam's waiting for a reply on that one, but I have nothing to say.
Well, there we go. So in the May of 2014, there was a Hollywood Reporter announcement that Will Staples would be coming on and replacing Drew Pearce. Drew Pearce was going to be off the project. And so Will Staples, who I had to look up because I'd never heard the name.
Poor guy.
He was mostly known for working on video games. He'd done Need for Speed, Rivals, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And he had a lot of other projects in development in Hollywood. So he was...
Neither great games, by the way.
Okay. Well,
The stories as well.
Yeah.
Is that what he'd done on like what's the story of Need for Speed? You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, hey, we wrote Need for Speed, get him on.
He drives a car
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And so they brought him on to take over from Drew Pearce. To date, this writer's best known credit is actually being, I think, one of a few writers who worked on Without Remorse, the Michael B. Jordan
What a
film.
credit.
Not a great film.
Whoa!
Yeah, the Rainbow Six prequel, I suppose it was supposed to be.
Smashing doors open all around Hollywood, I'm sure.
Yeah, he has an upcoming coming-of-age film starring Chris Pratt called Way of the Warrior Kid.
Wait, is Chris Pratt playing the kid?
No, he's not. He's not. He plays the uncle who's a Marine who tutors his young kid.
Of course he does. Of course he plays a Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah, or is it Marine or a Navy SEAL? I can't remember. It's one or the other. And it's completed, so it's going to be coming out, I guess, probably this year.
That means
One day.
nothing nowadays. Just look at Acme versus whatever, Coyote or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
One of these
Yeah,
days.
that might be like 5 years.
So at a certain point, McQuarrie took over writing duties.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Will Staples' time on Mission Impossible was relatively brief. And if you see the finished film, it has written by McQuarrie and by Drew Pearce.
Mm-hmm.
So
the staple didn't stick.
Brilliant work.
Yeah. And those staples didn't hold.
No.
Oh yeah, I wonder how much writing goes into this stuff, to be honest, because it's kind of like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's something that needs a big intensive writing session, but then I think about it and it's quite convoluted. But I don't know if I feel like the way they've made these films is just thought of what's an action scene, what's another action scene, what's another one. How do we connect them?
Yeah, and a lot of stories with these various Mission Impossibles was like they had to figure out a lot of things along the way.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you had like 3 writers working on it. What was going on?
Yeah. The writer's just sitting about going, just do it. When we get there, we'll figure it out, guys. And like, yeah, take the rest of the day off.
Notoriously, Tom is a man who changes his mind quite a lot. I mean, take Ghost
Right.
Protocol as a good example. He was supposed to be like either killed or quite badly wounded at the end of the film, and that was the idea for Jeremy Renner to take over. And they were going to shoot a scene in the car park where he was very badly injured, and he on the day pulled out and said, "I don't want to do it."
Yeah, we ain't doing it. It's like, mate, I've spent weeks writing this. We've hired the guy to come in and do it. Fire him.
Renner's like, "I just launched an app.
Fuck that guy."
What about the app?"
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
Over the course of the rewrites, Dan Briggs was out and Ilsa Faust was in. So that character was somewhat seen as a replacement for Dan Briggs. And they knew who they wanted. And that was Jessica Chastain.
Oh,
okay.
And so they were chasing her hard, and she was considering it and ended up turning it down. And I'm guessing did either The Martian or Crimson Peak instead.
After seeing Ava, I'm glad.
I mean, I don't know. She's an incredibly talented actor. I mean, I
Cam
think it's
just broke the sound barrier, everyone, with that. His little yelp.
I quite
there.
like her.
yeah, Jessica
no,
Chastain.
I don't
Zero
see,
Dark
I don't,
30?
No, I
don't know.
like Jessica Chastain. I just don't see her as Ilsa Faust.
That's fair. That's fair. You could say that. But like, I think like
you.
when
I
you
can.
say you can when you say Ava or you say was it the 311? What was that movie
The
called?
355.
The 355. Those are terrible scripts, so I don't blame her for that.
Thank you, Simon Kinberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. But she turned it down, as I said. So Rebecca Ferguson was cast after McQuarrie and Cruise saw her in the 2013 BBC miniseries The White Queen, and they saw a big resemblance to Ingrid Bergman in her.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, she does look like her, yeah. I know I've seen her in loads of films.
I've not seen this White Queen though. I've not seen that. I can't comment on the BBC. You think, both of us being British, we have seen everything on the BBC, but we haven't. Nor have either of us met the King.
And so Ilsa was named after Ilsa Lund in Casablanca, obviously a Bergman character.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tom Cruise gave her a copy of Notorious and said, study this movie.
Right.
And so that was one of the influences. He also handed her a few other Hitchcock movies. I'm going to guess also The Man Who Knew Too Much, given the opera sequence in this movie.
Right.
Definitely, especially with the high note shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is The Man Who Knew Too Much. Both versions, I think, actually do that gimmick.
It was in Hitman as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was a Hitman level as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, though, that Notorious plays such a role because that was the same kind of framing of Mission Impossible 2.
Well, it's a classic sweeping spy story with a bit of action and love. I mean, there's not so much love in this film, but
I was going to say,
I'm
Scott, I don't know about that.
I'm not sure, Tom. I think that's why you have to bring in Doug Ray Scott for Mission Impossible 2 to be the guy who has a little bit of lust going on, because I'm fairly sure that Tom Cruise looks like the angels from Dogma down below.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there may have been some, rewriting or interesting editing going on because there was an announcement as well that Chinese actress Zhang Jinzhu, who was in Rush Hour 3, was cast in a major role in this film. And in the finished film, she's in 30 seconds. She sits next to Simon Pegg when he's on the computer early in the film.
Yeah, I remember that bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if this was... Because at the time, there was a lot of Chinese actors appearing in blockbusters because of China being a bigger player in terms of Hollywood blockbuster and them going to see those movies. And so I don't know if something happened here, if this was a character that at a certain point in maybe the script was going to be prominent in some way, maybe a participant in the team, and then just through rewrites and editing just wound up doing nothing.
Oh, she does the polygraph
Yeah,
in
because
the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
strange, yeah, because Iron Man 3 had like an entire couple of scenes that were just China exclusives that just had their actors in.
Didn't they operate on Tony Stark's heart or something like that?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they had a lot more scenes in the Chinese release. Didn't really add anything to the plot because when it got released over here, they're just like cut that the fuck out. So I wonder if that even got released in China. Maybe there's a different version in China where it's like she's a massive character. She is Ilsa.
and Don Cheadle's not there for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if that is the case, it's definitely not as public as the Iron Man 3 differences, which were heavily mentioned.
I think that scene is on the DVD and the Blu-ray and stuff, though. The heart transplant scene. I think you can watch it there, but it's on YouTube anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
The other note over the course of the evolution of this film was that in February of 2015, they shut down the production because they had to figure out a new finale for the movie. Whatever the original finale was of this movie, they were not happy with. And so they brought in another writer who was a famous writer who they would not name and would not be credited on the film, but helped them hammer out what the finale is. And so this was happening at the time, too, for Paramount, where they had released just, I think, shortly before this movie, World War Z, which had been heavily reshaped closer to release. And so there was actually a interview I saw, or not an interview, but just like a quote. I think it was Variety had reported this, and they were talking to people at Paramount about, is this a sign of bad things for Mission Impossible that this is what's happening? And he said, "What are you kidding? We made World War Z." So I think this was seen as kind of like a minor little hiccup to them versus what they'd gone through on that film, that Brad Pitt film.
That's insane, yeah.
I've got such bad memories of that film.
I wonder what the final act could have been, because this one's quite low-key, and this doesn't really seem like what you would pivot towards. I don't know. I always thought it'd have a much bigger action scene.
Yeah, this was the rewrite.
Someone saw Spectre. Someone saw the script of Spectre and was like, what do they do at the end of that movie? Just do that as well.
The whole glass cage thing and stuff.
Well, okay, we have no way of knowing, but put on your I don't know, your special hats here, and try your time travel hats, and just imagine going back in time. What would have been the original if it's lower stakes and just not working? I have a couple ideas of what might have been added.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a thought about this. You've been thinking about it. Why don't you start, and if we have a thought, we'll pitch in.
I'm wondering if the Benji being kidnapped and being strapped to a bomb wasn't there originally. The glass box around Solomon Lane feels too perfect. It's a bookend with the start with Ethan Hunt, in the recording shop.
Sure.
With the gas going on. So to me, I'm like, that was probably always going to be the ending, but I'm wondering if they didn't have a tension where there was maybe even not the fight between Ilsa and, the Bone Doctor, the Simon Pegg in a vest, that kind of stuff wasn't maybe there, perhaps.
Well, that does give me a moment to plug the interview we're doing for this. We'll talk about that more at the end of the show, but we are speaking to the Bone Doctor himself, Yannick Winter, in the film played by Jens Hultén, which is a name I'll mispronounce in the interview to him. Don't worry, I'll do it there too. But he does mention that he's originally pitched one thing and it does expand during the production of the film. So that could well be correct.
The film, nonetheless, was a success. It was originally supposed to come out on Christmas Day 2015, which would have put it in direct competition with Star Wars Episode 7 and Spectre. Needless to say, they bumped it up to July.
Yeah. Good move.
That would have been so weird, though, because it is literally the same final act as Spectre. I remember seeing it at the time and be like, fucking hell, same shit.
That's a good point, actually. It is. Yeah. The budget was $150 million. Domestically, it did $195 million. International, $487.7, for a worldwide total of $682.7, which was just a tiny bit under Ghost Protocol, but still a huge success.
It's funny when you look at how Final Reckoning did. it's just nothing compared to this. And this is just like the fifth film. It's not even like it's not even said to be the last one or anything like that. It is a real shame how the Mission Impossible like box offices have just trailed off over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spectre beat it 880 million there.
Yeah.
From Bond. Fucking embarrassed you, mate.
Well, the Mission Impossibles get a lot of press and a lot of promotion, but they've never been the heavyweights of the blockbuster world.
Yeah, I still think about it today. I got a tweet a couple of months ago saying like, "Oh, I prefer Bond over Mission Impossible these days," and someone was like, "Well, Bond's never beaten them at the box office," and it still sits with me now. I'm thinking, "What the fuck are you talking about, mate? You don't know, you didn't know shit." But I didn't want to say that to someone on Twitter because I look really rude. But I was like, "You didn't know shit, mate." But yeah, they've never really done like crazy numbers, have they? But I think this is a much better film than Spectre, like much better film than it.
Oh, by a country mile. But like, I think Fallout hit the billion, didn't it? That's.
I don't think it did, but the one that was hugely successful was Mission Impossible 2.
2 is the highest earner of all time if you adjust for inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Mission Impossible's done $1 billion.
No.
Whereas Spectre was coming off the back of Skyfall, which did do $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course had that great Sam Smith track.
That's right. That's right. So this movie this movie landed number 8 for the year between Inside Out, the Pixar film, and Mockingjay Part 2. The top 3, number 1 was Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Number 2 was Jurassic World. And number 3 was Furious 7. And just final note, in a real confidence move, in May of 2015, before the release of the film, it was announced that Cruise, Paramount, and Skydance had quietly begun developing Mission Impossible 6.
I think that sounds right. They knew they were onto something with it at this point. They were making money. Why not?
Yep. They felt like they had something, and they didn't mention McQuarrie in that initial press release about Mission Impossible 6. I am curious, though, if he was always in right at the start. They just didn't announce it.
Probably. I assume by this point Tom Cruise has a good relationship with him, and it's just like, we're a package.
And it's also like he probably hasn't signed a contract to be the director of 6, so it's like he's just quietly working on it before things are formalized.
Yeah. He got on that money train early, and he stayed on.
Boy, did he. Yes.
Good for you, Chris. Get that paper.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Rogue Nation. Let's see if this mission truly is impossible. And Paul, you're our guest, and it's your first time doing a full proper review on the show. So why don't you open the floor? Tell us your thoughts, your overall thoughts on Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation.
Oh God! So yeah, I did quite enjoy it. I think it's probably my favorite I mean, there was a point in my life where I preferred Mission Impossible over Bond, and I was like, oh, I wish there was a time around the Craig era where I was just like, oh, I kind of wish they'd go back to like the more Brosnan feel of stuff, where it's like gadgets, slick parties, that kind of stuff, instead of going as grounded as they were going. I've kind of gone back on that now, but definitely around the time I remember being like, oh, Mission Impossible is the dawn. They are doing what Brosnan wanted to do. And this film kind of exemplifies that. Like I said earlier, I think this is the gold finger for the franchise, where they figured out all the formula, and it's not getting stale as well. They kind of do a lot of things in these Mission Impossible movies where they plan out the mission, Tom Cruise goes to do it, and then something goes wrong, and he's got to quickly think on his feet, and something happens. And they do that pretty much every single mission and action sequence going forward from this point. Whereas this, it was still quite fresh and invigorating, and it wasn't just the formula of like, look, he's going to go and do this thing, and then he's going to be last second, something's going to happen, he's going to have to do something else. And so it felt like it was reinvigorating quite a stale formula, because Bond kind of has this thing where he'll always nail what he wants to do straight away. And it kind of made Ethan feel more human to have him kind of fumbling about and getting stuff wrong. Whereas Bond will just like run over some crocodiles without tripping once and he'll be absolutely fine. So I think that really added a lot of human elements to Ethan. He was kind of stumbling through things. And I think this especially was sort of where things really got to that point. Even the action scene that opens it, the way that he kind of, Benji opens up the wrong door and he's like, oh crap, I've got to go in, and then he gets sucked in. I think it's just everyone's kind of at their peak in terms of like where they are as characters. We kind of had them established already. This is definitely the strongest team, I feel. You've got like Benji's a solidified member of the cast. Ving Rhames at this point is, and I'll keep calling him fucking Ving Rhames instead of his character name. But you've also got the introduction of Ilsa. It's quite operatic at points, and I think everything just kind of falls into place nicely. Where Alec Baldwin as well, he's introduced in this, and there's just some nice kind of acting scenes where they're all playing off each other. There's some tension that way, and there's just the nice little turns that they do throughout the film that I think really help sell it. That opening action scene as well. I remember I went through a period of thinking like, this is weird. This is just crap because it's not connect. It doesn't mean anything. It's just him hanging off the side of a plane for the sake of it, and it doesn't build into the major plot in any way. And then I put my kids down to bed the other night, and this was on their birthday, and I started watching the movie, and my son just comes in to see what I'm doing. I'm like, "You should be in bed, you little shit." And my wife, his mother, comes in. I was going to say the mother comes in, and she's like, "Come on, you've got to get to bed." And I'm like, no, I was like, it's his birthday. Come on, let him just watch this opening action scene. And yeah, I just watched it. And I was kind of seeing it through his eyes and being like, you know what, this is a really, really good scene. It's a really good way to kickstart the movie. Even just the way he comes in running along the hill as kind of the savior. And from there, it doesn't really let up a beat. I mean, I think the opera house for. It's not like a massive over the top action scene, but it's just a really creative way to handle things. And even the way that he's got the rifle, and you're sitting there thinking like, there's two snipers trained on this person. How is he going to save them? Is he going to shoot one person? Because then Ilsa's going to be able to fire at the guy, or is he going to shoot her? And he's only got the one bullet. And just the way they figure out all that stuff, really creative. Some great effects in it too. The motorbike chase is fantastic in the middle. The underwater stuff as well, really well put together. And I think it just builds nicely. And no, it doesn't quite go out with a bang. I think that, that last action scene is a bit anticlimactic. It's still kind of nice to see Ethan not only just doing action things, he's kind of also outsmarting the villain. And Solomon Lane, he wears glasses, so he must be smart. He comes across as a really cerebral character. And to just have Ethan kind of at a table with him, because I don't know if they could have necessarily done a big action scene where they're like shooting at each other from helicopters and stuff with that character. And just to have that all play quite subtly, low key, and just have the bank DLs and stuff, I think it works really well. And I think it's a good movie. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And yeah, enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. That's my rambling thoughts on it.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned, Tom Cruise feels really on point in this one. And one of the things I really noted was he's very funny in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's like going for comedy quite a bit. Like that opening, just that plane sequence where he gets on and the goon comes in to inspect the back, and Tom Cruise is just sitting up against like the all the weapons basically, and gives him like that shrug and just pulls the ripcord and flies out. That's really funny, and Cruise plays it perfectly, and he does that a number of times through the movie where it's like just non-verbal comedy, like looks he gives, and I go like, where was that in the last one? Like that's what we needed more of in Final Reckoning.
Well, it was just without humor, I found, Final Reckoning. And I'm not saying it needs to be a Bond film where there's a joke every few seconds. And Paul, going back to your original mention of like being an action sequence not attached to the film, I mean, Octopussy does the same thing. So, and we're all happy with that. Fill her up, please. Fill me up with scenes like that. I'll have that.
I guess it's loosely connected because it's part of the Syndicate's actions.
Sure, yeah.
Is it?
I think that
because
he's hunting the Syndicate. That's what they're doing with that.
It's loose.
It's loose. It is loose. But like you take another moment like when he goes to drive the car, and and he slides across the bonnet and then just does a pratfall onto the floor.
Yeah.
In Final Reckoning, he would be diving over that, and there would be like a slow-mo shot. And then he would like get up and straighten his coat and get in the car because he's the coolest man alive and he's Jesus. Whereas this, he just has a face plant onto the floor, and that's actually better.
Yeah,
he's just been brought back to life. He's not going to be, 100%.
Yeah, and it does a little bit of a callback as well to in Ghost Protocol when he's going to go outside the Burj Khalifa, and he's like putting on this act that he's really, really nervous. and everyone's like, "Oh, he can do that. He can do it. Don't worry, don't worry." And you see that he's actually like, okay, like he looks like he needs almost a little bit to convince himself. It's the same thing here where they bring up the you have to hold your breath for like 3 minutes, go into the deep into this water, and he's playing it the same way where he's like, because Simon Pegg immediately volunteers him, and he's like, wait, what? Like that sort of thing I think works a lot because as a character, Ethan Hunt is kind of a blank. And so it's those moments of movie star charisma and humor that I think elevate him and make you remember the character really fondly. And I think he needs more of those moments, in the future of the franchise. And here they're perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's quite nice. Like it has its meta moments as well, where the Senate or whatever, I don't know who they are. I don't know what it is in America. Those guys are questioning like Jeremy Renner, and it's like a lot of the stuff you've done sounds like luck, and it's like, yeah, what most of it was luck. Yeah.
I think I'll chip in my thoughts because Cam's been speaking for a while. I don't think I'm. People are bored, Cam. They want to hear from me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why they're all here. I don't think I can come out swinging as passionately in defense of this film as perhaps some other people might. It has a lot of good things going for it. There are some great action set pieces. The opera house, the motorcycle / car chase scene that was done by previous guest of the show, Greg Smers, fantastic. The opening set piece, again, fantastic. And those little character moments are great. The little comedy moments are great. But there are a couple of, I find, fatal flaws with this. I really do not vibe with Solomon Lane. I do not find him to be at all interesting or intimidating. I wrote Solomon lame.
Oh, okay. This isn't
Solo man is lame.
Fan.
Well, here's a question. Like, do you think he improves in the next one?
No, I don't particularly enjoy him in the next one because he's just sort of all enigma.
I was going to ask this question.
Big fish.
I was going to ask this question later. Then, like, do you think they should have brought him back after this movie?
Well, I think he serves a purpose in Fallout. Henry Cavill's the main antagonist, really. So that's really he's just sort of in the midst. So I don't mind him being there. It's kind of like Blofeld in No Time to Die. He's there, and you're like, okay, yeah, I guess, and then he's gone again.
Yeah. The Syndicate is pretty much Spectre, really, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, it's from the show.
Well, okay, right. Which they copied off Spectre there as well. I think Mission Impossible, this show owes a lot to Bond as well. I think the way Bond did it was probably better, where you had like Dr. No kind of is a villain. He mentions Spectre, and you have obviously the stuff in From Russia with Love, but even Blofeld in that, he's kind of kept in the shadows, stroking his cat. Goldfinger, he's not in, and then Thunderball, we have more Blofeld, but we don't see his face. Whereas they kind of drop you in at the deep end here, and they're like, no, this Syndicate is the big bad organization, where I think Bond was better for having a slow build up towards Spectre. But I do think Lane has a really good entrance. Obviously, he goes to the record shop. He gets that briefing. It starts telling you about how bad the Syndicate are. And then he turns around and he's there and he shoots that woman in the back of the head and then gasses him and keeps him alive for some reason. Because they want to turn Hunt, I think. But it always rubs me the wrong way when it's like, we're going to turn him. How are we going to do that? We're going to cut him in half with a saw and shit like that and beat him up. The Bone Butcher will get him to work on him and get him to come work for us. Doesn't make sense to me. I think Solomon Lane has a really good introduction, but he's also kind of a blank slate as well. And I don't know what's driving the guy. You'd never see him in a scene where he's just chilling out and what his motivations are. You know what I mean? I want to see like Largo when he goes and plays cards at the hotel in Thunderball. He's just kind of chilling out, having a life and stuff. He's got a pool that he hangs out with, you know what I mean? He shoots clay pigeons and stuff. Lane just has scenes where he's just saying, I'll kill you. Why haven't you killed Ethan yet? And Ilsa, mate, is the most fucking obvious double agent I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how the Bone Butcher doesn't remember like getting, distracted by her and then kicked in the face by Ethan. There's lots of points throughout that film where I'm like, would he still trust her at this point? He keeps seeming to give her tests that she fails all the time, and he's got no problem killing other people. What is he even keeping her around for? Because he doesn't seem to like her anyway, and she's just failing mission after mission.
I think some apologists for this film would be like, "Oh, he's playing her to get to Ethan."
Sure.
Like he's
Okay.
going along with it to get to Ethan, but I'm not sure I quite buy that. He comes across as quite stupid at times in this film. Yeah, I'll come back to Solomon Lane maybe in the dislike section. I've got a couple of things to say about it, but yeah, like as a whole, it's an entertaining 2 hours and 10 minutes. I didn't look at my phone particularly, apart from the third act, which drags a little bit. I enjoyed all the big moments, and it has the introduction of my favorite Mission Impossible character and one of my favorite like femme fatales in all of spy films, which is Ilsa Faust. So how could I not enjoy this film?
Well, is like the most famous shot out of this entire movie the shot of her with the sniper rifle putting her leg up
100%.
in the yellow dress.
100%.
Like I think if you were to say sum up Rogue Nation in one shot, that's the photo that people would immediately know what movie it is.
It's what's on my wall over there.
I would say the plane. I would say the plane is above it.
Oh.
But go off.
I think Paul's got us there. I think
Really?
it's on the artwork, like him hanging off the plane.
Hanging off the side of the plane.
Yeah.
That is like a peak action movie moment.
I'll put it out to the people listening and watching. What do you think is the most important and sort of memorable image from Rogue Nation? There might be others, but I think it's probably between hanging off the plane and Ilsa Faust at the opera.
Yeah, I think it was Simon Pegg playing Halo 5.
I love that
Yeah,
because Halo
that is
5
nice.
was like widely hated.
Oh, was it?
Hated. It's the worst Halo game mainline.
You see, what people weren't getting wrong, though, about Halo 5 was you needed to play it while set to classical music.
Of course.
Because that's the way you
Mm.
enjoy Halo 5 properly, judging from this film.
Did Paramount do the Halo TV show?
Yes, they did.
Because that might have been like a little tie-in. They might have got the rights to Halo at that point and be like, put it in the Mission Impossible
Well,
movie.
I think there's some Microsoft stuff in the film as well, so it might be
Right.
something to do with that. And a lot of Hewlett
Okay.
Packard laptops and a
Mhm.
lot of Sony phones.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of that. Even Paramount Plus, when I watched it, every time I paused it, it said like contains product placement. I'm like, yeah, you think?
That's a warning.
Yeah. Cam, what about you though? You haven't pitched in.
So, I don't feel that dissimilar to how I felt the first time. And it feels like almost like you have to be defensive to say, I really, really like this movie, but I don't quite love it. And I thought that,
Bingo.
like, I think it might be the Mission Impossible film I've seen the least, possibly. And not by, like, a huge number of viewings, but just by, like, I think I'd seen it twice before, as opposed to the other ones I've seen, like, 4 times, that kind of thing. Or you go to the first one, I've seen, like, 35 times or something. But, like, when it comes to more of the later sequels, I've seen Fallout definitely, like, 4 times now. And so I was, like, actually going back, going, okay, I hope that, like, this one really clicks with me. And it does at times. I find this one, though, is almost like, from my perspective, sort of a very confident, mostly successful dry run for Fallout.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, the confidence, McQuarrie's building that confidence that he can do this. I think there's elements of this one that they make mistakes with that will be improved in Fallout, where he said, okay, that doesn't quite work, let's adjust this, and I'll mention those things in the dislikes. But I look at, like, the sequences in this movie, like the Opera House is absolutely incredible. It's like, if the entire movie was just that sequence by itself as a short film, we would be like, this is the greatest short film we've ever seen. It's absolutely, phenomenal stuff. And the way they build suspense through character and, like, really inventive editing and direction, as opposed to just saying, okay, here's a big action sequence that'll thrill people. Yes, they can do that well, but they are also confident enough to do something small, which is, I think, is maybe what they were trying to do at the end that doesn't come off with the same success. Where it's like, well, what if we try to make this small but also exciting? I remember Joss Whedon, after the first Avengers film, which was a enormous film that the world loved, they said, well, like, how do you ever follow this up? And he said, I think the key is we have to go small. And I don't know what happened along the road from him saying that to Age of Ultron, because that movie did not go small at all. And I think, like, this movie is at least confident to say, no, we are actually going to try to go smaller and focus more on our characters and make it more character-driven than most Mission Impossibles are, because you would not say Ghost Protocol is a character-driven film particularly. This one is, though, and I think diving into the Ilsa Faust stuff, She's she might be the most significant element of putting this one in the plus columns for the Mission Impossible franchise. Like, I think this character gives this movie a huge identity.
Yeah.
And that makes it feel very special. So, like, as an addition, she's invaluable to both the franchise and also to just this movie. And I think this is probably the best we get of Ilsa Faust because there was circumstances. She was pregnant when they did Fallout. She couldn't do as much as I think they wanted her to do, or as much as she wanted to do. And then she's also plays more of a supporting role in Dead Reckoning, and then she's gone. So it does feel like this is the movie that's the Ilsa Faust film. So that's why I feel like kind of mixed. It's because I recognize the importance of this character, but I also have to acknowledge a lot of the other things about it don't bowl me over as much as I enjoy them. As much as I can say, I love Alec Baldwin in this movie to death. I love elements of this movie. The action sequences are phenomenal. The plane sequence is phenomenal. But it's kind of the pieces tying them together that doesn't wow me as much.
It's how I kind of feel about Thunderball a lot of the times. There's really good, for me, good moments of Thunderball, but it never quite coalesces into an enjoyable time watching. And also, ironically, both feature underwater sequences that I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I quite like the underwater bit. Well, I do. I quite
Fair
like
enough. I found it like especially maybe because we're a little bit spoiled now and seeing all these things in practicality, and also seeing Tom Cruise do an underwater sequence in Final Reckoning that actually is practical.
Yeah.
This is almost entirely CG, and it looks it. Like,
Yeah.
It feels unreal.
The CG arms spinning around and stuff.
Yeah, and you're like, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate them trying to do something different. That I'll give them props for that. It just that doesn't land for me, and it's one thing I'll come back to. But let's celebrate before we commiserate. Something you like or want to focus on, Paul, about Rogue Nation?
I just think that opening sequence again, the fact that Tom Cruise was willing to hang off the side of a plane and make sure that they all got it in shot as it was taking off. I just remember being blown away by that when I first saw it because it was clearly Tom Cruise, wasn't fucking about, was actually doing it. And I think he raised the bar with that stunt and probably the one on the Burj Khalifa as well, where it was like, you guys might do your action movies, you might be big action stars, but if you're not doing your own stunts, you haven't hit the peak that Tom Cruise has. And I see that pressure on a lot of action star movies these days. Chris Hemsworth is a big one for it as well, where he makes sure to let you know that he's doing his own stunts as well. I think that was just kind of him setting the bar for that. And a feeling I have when I go back and watch a lot of the Bond films is like, you see the beginning of Moonraker or The Spy Who Loved Me, and I don't know why it is. I'm just like, amazing stunt, but I just know that Roger Moore and Sean, like, that he's not doing it.
How dare you?
Whereas I think Tom doing it, it just takes it to the next level. And I think opening it like that with such a big stunt, with him clearly hanging off the side of the plane, them not breaking away or editing, you see it lift off the runway, go into the air, you see the ground disappear and get smaller and smaller behind him. I think that's such a good shot and a way to instantly let you know that Tom Cruise is the action star of this generation.
Yeah, they did 8 takes of that sequence, and they only had 48 hours to do it. That was all they had, and so, I mean, movie magic.
I think they used that airbase again in Top Gun Maverick. I think I recognize it as the Russian base, but that might just be my eye. You cannot fault it, and I know the Burj Khalifa was probably like the first big stunt, like physical stunt. But I feel like this kind of really sets the tone for what is to come. And I know, like,
though? I was gonna say, what about the climbing in Mission Impossible 2?
Yeah, that's fair, and that is in the intro as well.
Yeah.
What's the intro of 3? Oh, it's the flashback, isn't it? The intro or the flash forward? Sorry, is the intro of 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But again, I can't say anything bad about that sequence. It is utterly thrilling. And it's one of those moments, even the people who don't like Tom Cruise, and there are people out there that do feel that way for some strange reason, you could point to that and be like, well, he's doing this. Like, no one else is doing this. And he is consistently over the years up the ante.
Yeah, I think the big selling point of these films is the fact that Tom Cruise is putting his life on the line. And even with, all the issues I have with Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, just seeing the marketing where he was hanging off that biplane and stuff and riding the motorbike off the cliff, and it was like, okay, this guy's putting his life on the line to entertain people, and he seems really, really passionate about putting his all into it and making going to the movies a proper experience. I mean, the guy loves cinema, yeah, and he could have easily just been like, look, we'll do this in CGI, we'll call in the stuntmen, I'm not doing this. He is a producer behind these movies and he puts his all into them. And I think that shot from the beginning lets you know that this guy's doing it. He's doing it for real and he's doing it for us. He's looking at us through that lens and he's going, thanks for coming to see me do this crazy shit.
Well, it's like also, it's not just the big moments. It's a lot of the small moments in the movie too. Like there's a sequence where Rebecca Ferguson is being chased by the bone doctor up the stairs. It's only Ethan goes like flying out a window. And it's like perfectly timed. It's like Tom Cruise rolling out. There's a bit where he's tied to the pipe and does that climbing up the pipe.
Which is definitely actually him doing that as well.
That is the most incredible stunt I've ever seen a human being do. That one in particular.
The core strength to do that is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like bits like that. Or him just, you mentioned earlier, Scott, jumping on the top of the car and rolling off. It's like the physical... like comedy and the physical action he does, it's not just the big stunts that I appreciate, it's the little moments that suddenly make the movie just feel that much more alive.
I think for me, I'll take another beat to talk about Ilsa Faust. I think this film couldn't exist without her, and I'm not going to get into what the other films do so much. I think they do drop the ball on Ilsa, and they definitely don't get into her backstory, which this film sets up a lot of like her ledger and stuff like that, and they don't really ever get into, kind of faux Black Widow. Yeah. But they for the first time, because obviously the last film tried to create a new Ethan Hunt with Jeremy Renner, didn't quite work, and so you see him get more of a backseat in this film. Whereas they feel like they built an equal with Ilsa in this film. By the end, you're like, this is the British Ethan Hunt, and that's fantastic. And then maybe they don't use that to the best of their abilities in the future, but I enjoy every single second with her. But I'll spin that into another like that we haven't really spoken about, and that is something I lament about the later Mission Impossible films, and this is fun. This is just fun to watch. A little bit drags at the end, but like I mentioned, some of the pratfalls, all this sort of stuff. There is not a moment where you're not sort of captivated by it. And it goes by at a clip for the most of it, and you leave with a smile on your face, and you can't really ask for much more with a Mission Impossible film.
Yeah, I think even with the weak third act, you do kind of just everything falls into place nicely, and I think you walk away from it being like, I had a good ride with that. What's the next one?
Yeah, you could tell they didn't quite know how to end it though, because it's like the ending, real ending is actually like Jeremy Renner welcoming Alec Baldwin to the IMF, and you're like, boom, credits, and it's like, wow, okay, that they thought that was going to be the crowd cheering in the aisles kind of moment of the movie, but like it is a movie that it doesn't have a level of importance to it, and I would say the same for Fallout as well. It was like, we just want to give the audience a great time, and I think where the series got into trouble was bringing a little more of this sense of importance, which is, as soon as you say you're going to make a 2-part, like 5-hour epic, you're bringing importance unto yourself. And that was, these movies are incredibly hard to make. They take an unbelievable amount of technical skill, but they are fast-moving joy machines at their best. And that's a really hard thing to do and make it look effortless. But almost all of them do, for the most part. And I think this one does as well.
Cam, what about you?
I'm going to actually show some love for Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
Who I think is absolutely incredible in this movie. When you're bringing in kind of the new IMF sort of boss, he's not quite the boss here, but that role, it's always like, okay, which great elder statesman do we bring in? We've had Anthony Hopkins, we've had a John Voight. And when they brought in Alec Baldwin as more of an imposing, antagonistic presence, he has this authority. Alec Baldwin, he seems like a guy who would be intimidating just having like a verbal sparring match. We've seen him in like Glengarry Glen Ross, where you're like, this guy would be so intimidating. And I think he uses that presence really well. Jeremy Renner, to the best of my memory, was somewhat busy with Age of Ultron, and so wasn't as present for this film.
Okay.
Which is why Brandt
Makes sense,
which is
yeah.
why Brandt is a little more of a control room guy.
Yeah.
And even at the end, when he teams up with them, it's like, okay, everyone, let's go. And vanishes from the film until he's there to hold a glass box up. You know, like he does feel like they're kind of cutting around Jeremy Renner. But by putting him opposite Alec Baldwin, I think it's like a really fun dynamic. And they make the best they can out of Jeremy Renner's time by putting him opposite Alec Baldwin. And when you get to the end where Alec Baldwin is brought into it with the British Prime Minister, he's so much fun there. When he gives the big speech about the living manifestation of destiny, that is it can't be better. That is maybe the greatest moment in Mission Impossible history is Alec Baldwin's speech about Ethan Hunt being the living manifestation of destiny. That's incredible stuff. And I like the way that when he realizes the way the game is actually going and that they have to save the day, he does quickly go, okay, he's a rational character. He's not someone who still is, he's not the police chief in Die Hard, still grumbling the whole way. He goes, okay, we need to make this happen. And at the end, he seems, I don't know. I remember being actually excited to see him become the IMF boss in the next movie.
See,
I know
you're mocking that ending, and you're like, actually, I was high-fiving everyone in the cinema.
I'm not like most people, though. I do question how much of the people in the audience was really hyped for that. But I was, and Alec Baldwin is, if you're going to look at the history of people to bring into the franchise, I think he was one I was excited to see come back.
Yeah, I think he's a great addition to it, and it's nice to see a head of the team stick around for more than one film.
And he didn't disappoint either.
Because he doesn't betray them in the next one. He stays the course, and I don't think he makes it to the end, if I remember correctly.
No, he does die, but it's a character you actually feel something when he dies.
Yeah. I mean, having recently had to sit through Boss Baby, I'm glad to have that like a palate cleanser, an Alec Baldwin palate cleanser.
Definitely.
Yeah. Who was in charge in the fourth film? I'm totally blanking. I remember it was Lawrence Fishburne in the third one.
Lawrence Fishburne was 3, yeah. It was that guy who played Tom something. He was the guy who plays
Wilkinson.
Falcone in Batman Begins. Yeah, and he gets shot in the back of the head in the car, and it crashes over the edge. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, off the top.
I actually need to go look this up while you guys talk, because I cannot picture who you're talking about. It's completely gone from my mind.
Yeah, remember the mobster in Batman Begins?
No.
Like a dog.
Yeah.
No.
Like a dog.
I will look this up later.
Your father begged.
There's
been loads of stuff. You would think he was in Valkyrie with Tom Cruise as well, was he?
He might have been.
Might have been. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Nope. We're going to quote you on that.
That's the name of the episode.
Don't put that on the box. I really enjoyed his performance, and he's not in the movie.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Any more likes before we move on?
Locations. I think they made actually really good use of their locations throughout this film.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get globe-hopping movies, you can tell they're just kind of green screening something in and using it more for an establishing shot. Whereas here, the London stuff is great. Like the stuff in Minsk off the top. I don't know if it actually was Minsk, but it felt like a real place. Whether it was the cinematography or not, I felt like it was. And the Vienna stuff is great.
And the Casablanca stuff as well.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Morocco.
There's actually a shot, I wasn't going to bring this up, but seeing as you mention it, when it's towards the end of the film and Ethan turns up and he's standing next to Tower Bridge, I think it is. It's in the background. You and I actually recorded a birthday message for someone, and it turns out we actually did the exact shot.
Oh, did we really?
Nice.
So I went and lined it up, and it's pretty. I mean, they do it at nighttime, and ours is during the day. But it is weirdly we've put ourselves into Rogue Nation.
Interesting. I had a question for you two. Is that record shop there, or what is in that location?
No idea.
So it's around the corner from Piccadilly Circus. It's loads of restaurants and American candy stores and vape shops.
Okay, so they didn't rent a real record shop.
No, there's no record shop that has no customers in it around the corner from Piccadilly Circus in the middle of the evening. I'll give you a fun fact about that scene. I don't know if you guys noticed. Solomon Lane is actually in it when Ethan first walks into the room. Do you spot him?
No.
No.
He is in the back of the shot in a sound room listening to a record.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That'd be a good YouTube thumbnail.
Okay, now you've brought this up. What is he listening to?
Oh, what is Solomon Lane listening to? Oh, man.
Yeah, what kind of music is he
Oh,
into?
man. I mean, he wears like that Nehru jacket or like the roll neck sweater. I feel like whatever it is like very geeky, like chip tunes.
I'm going opposite. Dubstep.
Oh, that
Solomon Lane is
definitely-
just rocking out to dubstep.
Wow.
Boom, 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 boom.
I'm sticking to chip tunes. I think he's well into his like 8-bit music,
Hmm.
or like something like really esoteric, like Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, Alapalooza. He's going back to 93.
He loves his accordions.
Jurassic Park is frightening in the dark.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Agents, we don't expect you to talk. We expect you to buy a subscription to our Patreon.
Yee. That's right. Over on the SpyHards Patreon, we're covering all your favorite spy TV shows, as well as popular films from the most iconic secret agent actors of all time.
Cam, why don't you share some intel on our latest assignment?
Scott, when it comes to Ian Fleming biopics, we have definitely had a very tumultuous experience. We've seen Charles Dance and Jason Connery play the famous author, two highly questionable results. But is the third time the charm? We are going to take a look at the 2005 BBC biopic Ian Fleming, Bondmaker. Will this chronicle of the life and exploits of Ian Fleming be an all-time high? Or will it be like the rest?
So deactivate Ghost Protocol and visit patreon.com/spyhards to truly do things angel style.
But before we close Channel D, on with the Spy Jinx.
Right, we need to talk about dislikes. We need to talk a little bit more about some of the things we brought up earlier. Paul, we're back to you. Man of the hour. Dislike.
My dislikes, probably Solomon Lane. I do think a lot of the villains get kind of lost in the shuffle a bit, where it's kind of like there's not really too many henchmen, but there's also like they're all kind of bland and faceless. I think, you know, Bond, we've had so many great henchmen in it. If you've got Oddjob and Jaws, and there's just been constant ones throughout the franchise. Then you're on a top where your henchmen are really, really strong and your villains are really, really strong as well. And I just feel like Solomon Lane kind of drifts into that sort of Drax, Strongberg sort of level of villain where it's kind of like there, but you're not really like going away, quoting lines and thinking about his performance and his voice and stuff. It's just kind of, well, he is a bit of a fish guy voice. It's so like this, Ethan. Yeah, I think that kind of bogs down the film. There's also a lot of side characters, and I think the whole going rogue thing, again, just kind of is completely unnecessary, and they do it so many times throughout all of these films where you could easily just keep the plot as it is with having Ethan just working for the IMF, and there's very little reason for him to go rogue. It rarely plays into the plot all that much. And I just don't feel, I feel like those bits get a bit repetitive. And on second and third viewings, especially when you're working through the franchise again, it's those moments that kind of bog it down, where it's kind of like, oh, he's going rogue again. Oh, he's arguing with the boss. It gets a bit repetitive. But they're all minor things. I really do think they're minor things. I'm really struggling to pick something that I would say is a dislike. These are just all kind of nitpicks and things that I think could have been refined, and maybe, you know, whether it's because of stuff I've seen in the other films and that have kind of overshadowed this. But yeah, it's just the third act as well. I would say that's not a big dislike, but a kind of big thing in the film that they could have improved upon a lot, and they could have really gone out on a high note. Whereas I feel like this is kind of like, are we really just sitting at a table and saying how you've memorized all the bank stuff? And I think it gets a bit silly with that, because there's no way you could remember all those names. Even if you had like the best photographic memory in the world, you'd get like a 6 in the wrong place or something. And I don't know if he was bluffing or what, but it just kind of it's one of those things that they introduce in the final act where I'm like scratching my head more at the concept and unable to fully concentrate on the scene itself because I'm like, well, would that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you about the third act, and maybe I'll come back to that as my dislike. But one thing you mentioned actually triggered something in my mind as another dislike I had, and I'll just expand upon it a little bit. Is this film's need, and also other films of this time that are franchises, their need to justify their own existence. This like, the IMF is this antiquated 40-year-old thing. We got to throw it out. CIA, see? I don't know why they're all like New York crooks in the 1930s.
I was going to say,
but,
it's like the Bowery Boys.
yeah. But like you look at like Bond, like Skyfall. The
Yeah,
the
do it all the
00
time.
00 thing is outrageous. We need to get rid of it. Five Eyes and blah, 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 blah.
It's okay in Skyfall, I think, but then they do it again in Spectre.
Yeah,
And
they
then
double
it
down.
just gets, it's like, like, just drop this point already, mate. No, we're here to see a Bond movie. We already know.
Stop apologizing for the fact that you are a franchise.
Yeah.
Like just be happy that you're here. And I don't and I feel like we have moved away from that now at
Yeah.
a lot of franchises. But even like things like Star Wars would make jokes about the fact that they're Star Wars. Not overt jokes, but they were like Easter egg jokes. And you just think like, maybe don't be embarrassed about what you are and just lean into it.
Yeah, it was a big part of franchise filmmaking at this point, was to constantly be interrogating why these movies are popular or why the audience likes them.
I think it's just writers thinking they're smart, but it is, especially when it comes back to rewatching, as Paul rightly said, it's tiresome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think, like Skyfall, boom, done. Spot on, great, plays into the plot nicely. Come a Spectre, what the hell? Why? Yeah, we solved that thing last film. We've already dealt with that. Why are you bringing it back up again? And I think that just, this franchise is one of those franchises as well where I think you kind of almost have to view everything in order and kind of as a big whole. And I do disagree with you, Cam, before when you said that this is probably your least watched one, because I was thinking, how many times have you watched Final Reckoning? Because you probably deserve a medal if you've watched that more than twice.
Oh, excellent point. Actually, I've only seen it twice. You're right. You're right.
I feel like that's gonna always be my like least viewed of those films because it's like fucking hell.
Yeah.
That first hour was so bad.
To be fair, there's one you've all seen less than that. There's one you've all seen less.
Yeah.
And that is Mission Impossible versus the is it versus the FBI or something like that? Versus the
No,
Mafia?
it's Mission Impossible versus the Mob.
Okay. Never saw that.
Versus the Mob from like 1968, which was in theaters, so that technically counts as a theatrical release for Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
That's a nerdy fact for you all.
Nice.
But yeah, I do agree. And I suppose I'll that was part of my expansion, was talking about like this need to justify one's existence. I really don't like it, and it does it again in Fallout. I think you have, I can't remember who the boss lady is in that one, but she's trying to take down the IMF for a while.
Angela Bassett, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he went rogue in the first film. He was part of the IMF properly in the second one. Third film, I'm pretty sure he went rogue again. Fourth film, was he? He was kind of rogue, wasn't he? Because that guy got shot in the back of the head, and he had to go kind of.
They have to activate Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, they couldn't trust anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just going rogue all the time is a bit annoying. It's like, when are you not rogue, mate? When are you just doing your job? At what point are the IMF just like, no, this is actually the guy's job to do this stuff that he's doing? We've actually hired him to do exactly what he's doing now. I don't think that by this point, I don't think they'd be like, look, we're annoyed by you constantly going rogue. He'd just be like, look, this is what he does. He's actually saving the world by doing this.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like a trope that, I mean, you'd think they would have avoided a certain point because audiences were like actively making fun of it.
Yeah.
Or you think they'd go, oh, okay, we get it. Like the rogue thing is definitely a cliche, but they kept going back to it.
Yeah.
And they do all the way through to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's yes and no on the last one.
Well, he's not working for Kittredge, who's in charge of the IMF.
That's true, but the president knows exactly what he's doing. So, I don't know.
So he's half rogue, half... What's the opposite of rogue? Non-rogue?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It just needs to be a straightforward mission. Everything,
Yeah.
every plot point in this film could have been a straightforward mission, I feel.
Stop overcomplicating it. It's a nice, fun action film.
Yeah, you could have still had the bosses being like, look, mate, we're thinking about maybe getting rid of this. Let's assess how he does on this mission. You could still have that tension of being like, look, well, if he fucks this up as well, he's going to get the whole place shut down. But just the constant going rogue, mate. Just stop. Just this is the guy's job. This is actually what the guy's doing now is what you've hired him for. So I don't understand why he even has to go rogue. It'd be like Bond doing it, like fucking somewhere up and be like, we're sick of this lad. They let Bond go on his destruction derbies and like destroy expensive places for a laugh. And they're never like, oh, well, you're fired. It's just like, it's part of his job.
It's got a license to kill.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to just jump on the Solomon Lane train for a second. Like, they clearly want to make a villain that perhaps will come back. I think that might be part of their idea is to have him because he doesn't die. Like most of the other ones who generally die at the end of the film. Doug Ray Scott dies.
Yeah.
John Voight dies. I can't remember the rest. Philip Seymour Hoffman dies, I think, as well. Gets shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they all basically get
I know
off.
he doesn't get shot. He gets face first into a car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they want to keep him around. But they've got, like, this guy who's doing this whole, like, I'm playing four-dimensional chess while you're playing Go Fish concept. Like, but, like, say, like, Silver does this in Skyfall. But at least Silver is, like, completely manic and a bit nutso. And entertaining, and you've got Javier Bardem, playing it to the back of the room. That's fun to watch. I don't know much about the career of the chap who plays Solomon Kane. I have only ever seen him, I think, Sean Harris. I have only ever really seen him in these films, so I don't know really what else he's done.
Prometheus, he was in.
Okay.
That Harry Brown movie. He was like a drug dealer in that, I'm pretty sure.
He was the king in the movie The Green Knight.
Okay.
A movie I love a lot, but it's not a big part.
But yeah, I feel like they missed the mark with his character. I don't think he's particularly memorable. And he hasn't got like some big defining speech or anything like that. Like when you're saying, there's nothing to him. At least Philip Seymour Hoffman, for instance, has like that big opening sequence of the film. It's a flash forward. Doug Ray Scott always has that meme of him screaming. Okay. Like, there's something to remember them by. Solomon Lane, I think the only shot I ever go back to with him is him in that cell in the sixth one, was it's underwater.
Yeah, it's tough with Solomon Lane because I gained a lot of interest in that character with Fallout. And so, retroactively, that makes him more interesting here.
Yeah.
And so when I go back to it, I'm like, okay, well, this is Solomon Lane, a character who means something more to me. He's an interesting villain in the Mission Impossible franchise. And I can't say I felt like that the first time, though.
Sure.
There's no way I did. I think I would have been still saying, like, come on, we had Philip Seymour Hoffman. What are we doing? But Lane has, I guess, in my eyes, aged pretty well. But it is a character I began to think when this movie was over, they never should have brought him back because it annoys me now that he's out running about at the end of Fallout. And
you think he would return at some point in either of the two films, and he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
it's a loose thread at this point, which is it could be something they play on later, but I don't know if we ever will get it later.
Well, exactly. It reminds me of you were mentioning one of you was mentioning Blofeld earlier, like classic Blofeld. Yeah. Well, Blofeld petered out too, and they didn't do anything interesting with him in the original Connery films. So it's kind of the same thing with Lane,
or in the Craig films, really.
Yeah. I don't think Blofeld's ever been handled well. I think he's been set up really well. Russia with Love especially is perfect in that film.
Yeah.
And then from there, even Thunderball is quite good. He's in the little room above everyone else in the office. And then they just never fully deliver on it. I think Donald Pleasance is quite good, but that should have been, Connery's fifth film, close out the Blofeld arc, bring in George Lazenby for the next one, start with a new villain and build from there. It's just, I think the Syndicate is just given way too quickly and it doesn't have the time to grow. It's literally just dropped on you from that record at the start. And it's kind of difficult to get the feel that they're an overarching massive organization, especially when we haven't really seen the acts they've committed either. It's kind of all told through us through like newspaper clippings and stuff and through other characters. And I would have loved to have seen maybe an action scene where Ethan goes to stop them and they succeed on blowing something up, like blowing up a hospital or something. You know what I mean? Like the Joker, famous scene of him walking out the hospital, blowing it up, having, done that. And the Joker escapes from the prison and stuff. And you've got those scenes throughout The Dark Knight where the Joker wins. Even the bank heist at the start, he gets away from that. And there's constant scenes throughout The Dark Knight where the Joker is winning. And it just makes for a better villain. And I feel like had we had a scene where Solomon Lane kicks the shit out of Ethan and wins, then it would have felt a lot stronger.
Or you go the way of like how Quantum was originally pitched, whereas like they have people everywhere.
Yeah.
Why didn't like half the IMF turn on Ethan?
Yeah.
For instance, Simon Pegg is British. And the Syndicate is a British creation. I'm not saying you want to turn Benji necessarily, but you could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe that Chinese actress, maybe she was something like that, if she had a bigger role.
Maybe there was like a mole within IMF. Who knows?
Yeah, that might have been why they rewrote the finale. It might have been a big reveal. Renner the Don has been the baddie all along. He's been working for the IMF and you thought he was your friend, Ethan. He's a son of a bitch.
The Syndicate turned up and like, hey, I hear you want to launch an app. We have a software for this. We can help you. And that's where it was. Cam, your dislike?
For me, I mean, a lot of things we've talked about, but I'll just say the underwater sequence to me, it's just a bummer. It's like you set up the plane stuff. Later on, you have that incredible motorcycle chase where Tom Cruise's knee is like bumping the road, which is like almost gives me vertigo just watching it. But like, there's something about that underwater one, and it's the CG. And I think like, there was a lot of press. I don't know if you guys remember, but before the movie came out, there was a lot of talk about Tom Cruise preparing for the sequence, having to learn to basically free dive and hold his breath. And what he did is apparently very impressive. The stunt coordinator said he held his breath for 6 minutes. And that's not something I can do. I think only Kate Winslet can do that, from what I've heard from the Avatar press. But that's very impressive. And so when I watch the sequence, you want to feel that, but it's cutting around, it's going back to the team, and then it's like mechanical arms are hitting him that look really fake. The entire environment looks like a CG glowing kind of screensaver. And I just go like, you just lost it. And I think at the very least, McQuarrie learned from that because he did not replicate that when he did action scenes going forward. Like he tried to keep them very real.
I have a similar problem with the skydive scene that they do down the line with Henry Cavill when they kind of clearly go into the CGI clouds and then you have the lightning strikes and stuff. And I'm like, this would be so much better if it was, because I've seen the behind the scenes stuff where they shot it on like a clear day. I'm like, that just looks so much better than having them going through like CGI clouds and cutting around. It doesn't even really look like they're there. And I totally agree with you with the water stuff. I do like the scene, but it just has a sort of artificiality to it that the other stunts don't have. And I think it kind of, when it's in this sort of film, especially with how we see stuff done in Final Reckoning, where that's underwater as well, that retroactively makes this scene a lot worse.
I will just say I do appreciate they did make some edits to the Halo jump in Fallout, because in the original, of course, Henry Cavill plummeted into a circus tent.
While flapping his arms, trying to stop himself. Yeah. Pulled his chute and come
out. All right, final notes and then our list of knocks. I've got a couple of observations. Paul, have you got anything to add in final notes? It's like the Final Reckoning.
I would say it's a banger. I would say it's one of those easy recommends. If someone came along and was like, "What? I want to watch Mission Impossible. Which one do I start with?" I don't want to watch them in chronological order for some reason, because I've heard that first one's just not right. It just hasn't figured it out at that point. And I've heard 2 hasn't figured it out either. I would say, you know what, you could start with this movie, mate. You'll get a good idea of like Ilsa and stuff. She's a big character. It's just kind of got those nice. Yeah, I'd say start with this one, mate. Or maybe 4. One of those.
Right. Well, I'll chime in with 2 things. Firstly, we mentioned it subtly earlier. The Hitchcock reference in the opera sequence is just great. And I went back and checked with the Man Who Knew Too Much. And yes, it is. It's not to the same score that they play that music to. But when there's a high note, they do the gunshot. which I think is just a really cool little feature that they put in here. But I also wanted just to ask the room, did you notice the amount of times that Rebecca Ferguson went barefoot in this film? And did Tarantino subtly shoot some of this film?
Well, no, I didn't notice attention to feet.
I often do.
But I did notice that there was a very leering male gaze camera on her in the
scene in the pool
after
some reason.
Yeah, after. Well, there's the scene where she gets out of the pool, but also after the water tank.
Yeah.
When she's getting changed or whatever, and the camera's just staring at her butt. I'm like, this feels odd for a Mission Impossible film. This isn't. Although there was some odd shots of Tandy Newton in Mission Impossible 2, but it does feel like this isn't part of the usual Cruise McQuarrie package. That's not something that you'd see in the other films.
I will just say, I'll urge listeners and viewers, go back and watch the film. Count how many times you see Rebecca Ferguson's feet. It will surprise you and delight some of you. Me included. I'm not weird. Cam, any notes?
I had a question for you two.
Mm.
What is the superior opera sequence? This or Quantum of Solace?
Oh, Tosca. It's not for everyone.
That's a great scene. That's probably the best scene in that film.
Yeah.
It's the best scene in the film, for sure.
I would say this one, because that kind of falls apart when it just goes to the montage over the music, and it's just kind of running through a kitchen and knocking stuff over. And it's like, well, what's going on here exactly? Whereas this is kind of, I love the way that the dynamics are constantly shifting. He's on the level, and then it shifts up, and then it drops down. He's fighting that guy, and he does one of the best drop kicks I've ever seen, where he jumps and kicks the guy off and doesn't push himself back. He just drops down perfectly to catch himself. Yeah.
I would also agree.
And just the editing as well. I love the way the score, they kind of film the score and you can see the notes coming. And that's just such a good way to present it.
And of course, you've got Ilsa Faust in that dress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not going to go wrong there. But also, I think that scene does a really good job. The Mission Impossible scene does a really good job of balancing multiple characters' point of views and keeping it coherent. Whereas you've just got Bond in the Tosca sequence.
Yeah.
And even that resorts to montage.
Yeah, I would say this one has a far higher technical challenge.
Yeah.
And pulls it off beautifully. And it goes back to what I said earlier about the best Mission Impossibles. There's a lot of effort here, but it feels effortless.
And I'll note, during that sequence, Rebecca Ferguson goes barefoot. Right, well, it's time for the...
Knock list. Knock list. Knock list. Knock list. Knock list. The knock list. Knock list. Knock list. Knock list. You need to pick a side.
And I'm glad to ask Paul, for the first time, you get to vote on the knock list now. I know your life's been on pause until this moment has come, so I'm glad it's finally here. But do you think that Mission Impossible Rogue Nation belongs on the need-to-see official classics of the spy movie canon? And Cam, what Mission Impossible films have made it on there thus far?
1, 3, 4.
Okay, so no 2, but 1, 3, and 4. Do you think number 5 should be on that list as well?
Oh, I mean, no, I don't. If those other ones are on, then I would say that they've kind of got you covered. How long's this list? That's what I mean. Is it is 50 positions?
There's not a set number, you knock someone off after a certain period of time, but we've only covered about 250-ish films, and there's only about 30 films on there, maybe 40 at this point. So
yeah, I'm just the need to see it. If someone said to me, I haven't seen Rogue Nation, I don't think it's one of those films I'd be like, what? You haven't seen that? That's a classic. What? That's one of the greatest spy films ever made. So, because of me guessing my reaction to that, I would say no. Whereas I think if someone was like, I haven't seen Mission Impossible 4, even though I think this is probably the stronger film all around, I would probably say, no, that's the one you need to see, mate. That invisible corridor sequence, that's going next level. So personally for me, no. And that's not just me hating on this franchise or this film. I think my personal knock list, as much of a Bond fan as I am, I still would probably only have 3 or 4 Bond films on there that I would be you need to see this Bond film. And in terms of Mission Impossible, I wouldn't say this is one of the need to see ones.
I think that's entirely fair and a good vote. So that's a no from Heavy Spoilers himself. What about you, Cameron?
I'm actually surprised that people seem to be more in line with where I came from. I felt like an outsider.
So did I.
And I've always enjoyed this movie, but I've never loved it. And to me, I have to look at it. Okay, so what is the argument for it to be on the knock list? I think the best argument is Ilsa Faust.
Yep.
Because I think that character is, as I said, done better here than in any of the other films.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at the Cruise-McQuarrie pairings on Mission Impossible, there's another one that I'd be far more likely to vote yes on than this. This feels to me like a little bit of the dry run for that, albeit a very fun and enjoyable ride. So I'm going to say no on this one. And I know a lot of people are angry, but one of the things that's interesting about Mission Impossible, a lot of people were posting their rankings for the series leading up to both Dead Reckoning and also the Final Reckoning. And I tend to find with Mission Impossible, rankings are all over the place. People tend to place Fallout very high. And then kind of the ordering is all over the place.
I've seen people put 2 near the top, and I've been like, what the hell are you talking about?
I'm a defender of 2. I'm not saying it's better than some of the mainline ones, but I would probably put 2 over Dead and Final.
Yeah, maybe.
I would put it over Final.
Yeah. But we'll do that online this week, I'm sure. Let's keep it short and sweet. 2 no's, so my vote doesn't mean anything. So I'll say yes for Rebecca Ferguson's feet.
No. What's your honest answer there, Scott? No copying. Someone actually brought up with me, why does Scott always cop out of giving actual answers when he's outvoted?
I do it for the comedy value, I suppose. Although if you don't find me funny, it's probably quite grating. No, I said it up front. I think this is a film of good parts, but none of them come together in the end. I think there are too many faults that weigh it down. And despite the heights of Ilsa Faust, despite the heights of sequences like the opera house and the car chase and the plane, you've got a lame duck villain. You've got a slow third act and an end of a second act that is pretty bad looking CG. And unfortunately, that drags it down. Now, this is not to say you should skip Rogue Nation. I think you should go and check it out, but only as additional reading to the knock list.
Yeah, I would say it's a great addition. If you're enjoying the franchise and you're like, I want another one, put it on, mate. Put it on.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because if you were to look at the opera sequence, you might say, is this one of the greatest scenes in Mission Impossible? But when you have a franchise that's always creating these unbelievable set pieces, I don't know that it does rank near the top. I think there's a lot of other ones you'd point to as well.
I think it's a pretty good sequence. If we're doing top 10 moments of Mission Impossible, I think that opera sequence might well be in with a chance of being on the 10.
But the fact you're saying it's a chance of being on the 10 is interesting. Yeah. And it speaks to maybe the high quality of the series when it does set pieces.
Sure. I think that's a whole other episode we could leave on the table for later on down the line. We run out of Mission films to talk about. But
well, Scott, there's always Mission Impossible versus the Mob.
There is always Mission Impossible versus the Mob. Right after we do Return of the Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's right.
I can't wait. But there you go. 3 no's. And as such, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, despite its beloved status in some online film circles, is not making the knock list. The dossier on the film is complete and filed as classified. And that leaves me with one final duty. And that is to thank our guest. Paul, it's been lovely having you back on the show. I have mentioned heavy spoilers, but could you tell the people listening and the people watching, if they haven't seen or heard you before, what you do online?
I just talk about movies, really. I just point out Easter eggs in movies on heavy spoilers. So, yeah, people keep asking me, promote yourself. What do you do? I'm like, just check out the channel, mate. You'll probably figure out within 2 minutes what we do. And you'll know if that's for you. And if it's not, that's totally fine, mate. Wish you all the best.
Well, allow me to dive in for you then. If you like James Bond, check out the heavy spoilers videos. I don't know anyone else online who puts the amount of effort into putting those videos together than Paul does in heavy spoilers. Just look at The Spy Who Loved Me that came out recently. Fantastic video, props, vehicles, all kinds of stuff.
Skiing.
It's not just a guy skiing. It's not just a guy sat at a desk talking, which most of YouTube is, including this episode. It is above and beyond. So it's got our endorsement. There'll be links in the show notes below. I'll do your plugs for you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Appreciate that. That's what I like to see when people plug for me, because I'm terrible. I'm one of those people who, if someone said, "Oh, tell me about yourself," I'd be like, if I had to write like a bio on a website, I wouldn't know what to put. But thank you.
Shrug emoji.
Yeah.
I tend to start promoting things we did in like the first year of the podcast.
You always do this.
I know. It's
I don't know
crazy,
why.
but it's like that's what immediately pops into my mind.
Yeah.
It's like
5 years ago, when you were younger.
exactly. Yeah.
It's been a beautiful time with the film. It's been beautiful having you on the show, Paul. Once again, thank you for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
There you go, folks. We have Rogue Nationed. We are all Rogue Nationed out, or are we?
Perhaps there'll be some fallout from this conversation.
Oh, well, of course there will be some fallout from this conversation, but I was talking about what's coming up next week, Cam.
Oh, well, of course. We are going to talk to actor Jens Hultén, who played the Bone Doctor, which was the pseudonym of Yannick Winter in Rogue Nation. He was the secondary villain in the film, and it's going to be really interesting to talk to him because not only does he have a lot to do in Rogue Nation, he gets to have a whole tussle with Ilsa Faust. So he's going to talk all about that and the entire process of making Mission Impossible. And, beating up Tom Cruise. There's going to be that as well. But some may not have even connected the dots that Jens also appeared in the Bond universe. He was one of Silva's goons, the one that in Skyfall, James is tangling with in the lake outside Skyfall. He does, that's right, the underwater fight. So we're going to get lots of information about the shooting of that sequence, working with Daniel Craig, and how difficult it is to do a fight scene underwater.
Yeah, this is one of those interviews that we went in with one objective and came out with a lot more. Jens is a fantastic guest. You're all going to love it. You're going to scratch your mission itch, Mitch, and you're also going to scratch your Bond itch. I'm not going to put that together.
Oh, yes. And he is a incredible storyteller. So tune in. You're going to get some great stories.
And of course, the Bone Doctor would be my porn pseudonym.
Oh, malpractice. Am I right?
Yeah.
Malpractice.
But there you go, folks. Your mission, should you choose to accept it. If you want even more Rogue Nation in your life, stick around for next week as we talk to Mr. Jens Hultén all about Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Skyfall, and much, much more. And if you haven't already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified whenever an episode comes out and you're the first to listen. Like, can you imagine being the first person to go on to Spotify and leave a comment at the episode? That would be great.
That would be great.
You could just say I was first. That's all you got to say. No comments about the episode. Just say first. Say, like, Condor Man sent me here.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah. I want to see those comments, folks. The Spotify listeners, you're not the biggest percentage of people we have, but I want to see you. I want to hear you. I want to see those comments first on next week's episode. Join us for Jens Hultén, and then we're back with a new movie the following week. And if you want to hear more from us, you can find us over on social media at SpyHards. That's SpyHards, wherever you get your social media. And we mentioned the Patreon earlier in the episode. You can find the Patreon, patreon.com/SpyHards. There is a variety, a smorgasbord of different options you can join us and help support the show. There's even a free option you can join us on just to help support the show. But there's a link in the show notes below. Come on board. Just come and talk about spy movies with us. We do that for free.
And also, lots of Tom Cruise content over there. If you enjoyed Mission Impossible, jump on over there and you can hear reviews of War of the Worlds, A Few Good Men, Risky Business, and who knows what else we'll do in the future, because I'm sure we're going to have lots more coverage of Tom Cruise movies in the future.
Digger especially. That's the number one. And Lions for Lambs coming soon. Oh, yeah. Rock of Ages right after that.
I'm an apologist for that one, actually.
I like the musical, but not so much the film.
It has its camp value.
Sure. But until next time, folks, you'll find me rewatching Rogue Nation for the millionth time, just to make sure I accurately count the amount of times you see Rebecca Ferguson's feet.